SX, Nissan 240 SX, S14. It's always good to be back in a 240, and you're gonna be like, oh, but how is this one different than the others? Let me tell you, this one belongs to my buddy Avery, and Avery is quite the character because he does whatever he wants, very much like the tanked out 240 I did 2 years ago. So if you were to ask, what was this car built out of, and why did he do it this way? It was out of pure boredom. And every single part in this car is because of boredom. The hood is all done by himself. He basically molded this scoop on there. The entire paint job is spray paint, so I guess you could say when I did my S13 coupe, I was inspired by Avery. He also has no front bumper yet, but when it was on there, it was just had paint chips all over it. He also had that neon headlight stuff at one point, but he was like, oh, I gotta get rid of that, I'll just redo the headlights. And this is a zinky front. A lot of people do the kooky fronts, they jump straight to it, but I will argue that it is possible to make a zinky look really good and really classy. In the end, you could say it's kind of a discount R33 front. I think that's how I look at it anyway. What I love about the back of this car is, of course, the ducktail wing. I think the S14 looks the best with the ducktail wing. You could have put a giant wing on it, but the ducktail just makes the really nice smooth body lines of the zinky especially really pop. And with this bright color, which this used to be the really nice emerald color, but I'm just gonna go out there and say it, he had an ex-girlfriend pour brake fluid all over his car. So he was like, you know what, the clear coat's ruined, so I'll just do something different. So he had it primered all the way around for a month, and then he was like, you know, I'll just spray paint it. Whatever, who cares? And this is SR20 powered. Normally these come with the KA. Usually SRs are kind of finicky beans, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this one has been a finicky bean as well. We have tried to do this review like 5 times, and every time Avery calls me, he goes, bro, something went wrong. A lot of people ask me why I went with a Toyota motor in my 240, and this is one of the reasons why I did. Let's just talk about the interior of the S14 really quick. I always find it weird that on the door panel, they have air conditioning vents, so it's going straight at your hand, basically. But I guess it's kind of nifty, it makes sense, it's something different. But the inside of the S14 overall is a nicer place to be than the S13. And there's Robin! He also has, cool story bro, on the dashboard and a completely spray-painted center console. He has 2 pillar pods right here, which are actually really convenient. You get AFR and boost gauge, and just their traditional tachometer and everything else. And the rest of the car is fairly simple. He used to have this piping on the car that was so janky that the welds were like elevated, because he was like, I want to learn how to weld. Caterpillar welds for the win. B&M makes one of the best short shifters in the business, and they literally put them in almost any car that exists. So if you have a car, it most likely has a B&M out there for aftermarket support. The SR20 in this car I do want to talk about because it has been finicky, and this car has caught fire twice. So with the car catching fire twice, it's not safe. But Avery has learned so much on this car that he just can't really give it up, and he just keeps trying new things with it. And what's amazing about this SR, it's running on a $300 standalone ECU. It has an HKS blow-off valve, so you're straight fast and furious everywhere you go. It's so much cleaner of piping. Everything else under the hood is much cleaner. He even made his own wiring harness for the ECU, which is amazing. I can never do that. I know you're probably wondering, how does this SR sound like this? They usually have this kind of wait, and then you hear the turbo spool. With this, you hear the turbo almost no matter what. Why is that? Because he has a side-up exhaust basically next to his side skirt, and it's right here. So if I put the window down just a little bit, it is ridiculous. Oh, I'm sorry, cows! I'm sorry! Guys, I'm not even gonna get in it. I'm just gonna go in and out. Ready? It's so obnoxious. But if you're on the other side of the car, he sounds like a freaking Prius. You'd have no idea. So another thing too is that there is no power steering. So in the parking lot, once again, David's chicken arms has to power through. But once you get going, I actually really like no power steering. As weird as that sounds, I like the feeling of just feeling, everything. I know that sounds kind of weird, but the feedback is just amazing when you have no power steering. Now, one thing I do want to talk about too is that it looks slammed, but I was able to get over speed bumps without bottoming out. So it's kind of deceiving. It's more of just the body lines, and there is a little bit of rubbing when you go around corners, but it's nothing too drastic to be that distracting, and you're not going to crash because of it. It's nothing along those lines. So, fireball! Another thing though about the car is that it has really weird brake feel. So at the beginning, you don't get any bite, but then you have to really pound on it. With how low the car is, I would just like to tell you that these coils are so old and so JDM that he doesn't even know the brand of them. Another thing about the S14 has a lot of the same dash issues as the S13. You get cracks on the dash and it's nearly impossible to prevent. All you have to do is cover it up with a little bit. He has a little turtle on his dash, so he obviously keeps it safe. What I love about the exhaust on the side is that it's like all turbo noise the entire time. Like, it doesn't matter how in and out you are, it's just perfect spool out. HKS, HKS every single time. Oh my God. Other than the Core Works S13 I drove, which had a built SR, that was probably the torquiest and craziest SR I've ever driven. This one is right behind it, no lie. So I just like to add, Avery one time was at Grid Life, and he went on the track, and when they told him he was going too fast, that might not really be the real issue. The real issue was his brakes were on fire. So basically that just shows sometimes it's better to get upgraded brakes before adding horsepower, which a lot of us are guilty of not doing when you first add horsepower to your car. But see, even with no power steering, it's still... Another thing about the car is, if you ever want to know who Avery is as a person, just look at all the stickers. That is literally the personification of the person driving this car. All right, you guys, hope each and every one of you enjoyed this video review. I know I did. What do you guys think about this incredibly sketchy 240SX by Avery? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a fantastic day.